Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. So this is a game that I played online just a couple of days ago, and I've been playing a few ranked team games online, not a lot. I think I had 9 games up to this point, and they were all wins. And the way that it works is you start off, and it just kind of guesses at your elo that you're average, and then it takes a little while actually to work up. And this is the first really competitive game I thought that was interesting enough to show you guys. So in the teal here, I'm going to say teal, I know some people call it cyan. I'm going to be playing as the Franks. And I wasn't originally going to pick them, but I noticed my ally picked Britons. And so I figured, you know, we've got a cavalry civ and we've got an archer civ. In terms of the elos here, just give you a sense, he's ranked at 1665 in this game. And at the moment of playing this, it was estimating my elo at 1700. Now our opponents in the yellow, we have the Magyars. This was a 1724 rated player. Obviously these are team game ratings and not 1v1 ratings. And he was playing the Magyars, which, of course, just like me as Franks, is another really good scout rushing civ. The red player was playing as the Khmer, which is a really interesting civ these days. I still haven't totally figured out where I think they're at after their farming improvement, and his rating was 1654. Now, on paper, our team should have been pretty much exactly balanced, though obviously I have quite a small sample size on mine, so it's not totally clear what it should be. So the map is Lombardia, which is kind of a weird one. You can see we're really far away from our opponents, and I think this is a good map for coordinating with your team, because of course I can make units, he can make units, we're right there together, and I could see if you had some way to voice chat with the other player, this could be a really good map to coordinate on. Unfortunately I don't have a very good wood line. I do have to grab this one forward. I always prefer back wood lines, but I didn't want to go all the way over to this one. I'm not even sure I knew about that one. I guess I knew a little bit about it. You do seem to have some extra cows on this one, otherwise it's pretty standard. So you have 8 cows, and of course a cow is worth 50% more than a sheep. So you do have some extra food. Doesn't really help me in particular as Franks, but obviously my ally is Britons, and so that's going to be great for him. And he does know he only needs 5, I think. Oh no, he's using 6 on sheep. And as Britons you only need 5 at the beginning, but it's not a big deal. And so in terms of strategy, I was thinking scouts, though I was a little hesitant to do that just because you're so far away from your opponents. And so as Magyars, I would also expect scouts matched up. Khmer, I can kind of do anything, I guess. In fact, probably the best plan is just to do something that complements what the Magyar player is planning to do. But again, you probably could wall up pretty safely. I didn't have the best mapped wall. This area would be pretty easy. And this is a pretty open spot. I guess you could wall. It'd be very, very forward wall. Yeah, but I didn't end up walling, really, in this game, and just ended up going for scouts and kind of just nakedly left my base open. Also, I did lose a villager to the boar. I didn't see that. Oh, maybe it's this one. I sent one out and then just completely forgot about him. Or not completely, but just for a couple of seconds forgot about him. And when the boar's uphill, just forgetting about him for 1 second is a death sentence. Though it doesn't look like I'm really a villager behind. So everybody's got a bit of idle time. I mean, this isn't... I think this is like top 15% of elo, so it's solid at this point, but it's not at that professional level where there's 0 mistakes. As part of scouts, you always go 3 on wood first. You don't really need that much more wood, and come up to make a second lumber camp. And I love this little hiding spot in here uphill, so we're gonna put that in there. And long term, this isn't gonna be the best because obviously these 2 lumber camps are gonna compete for the same area. And yeah, so I'm setting a few more to wood. I want to have 10 on wood as I'm advancing. I'm 1 short at the moment. And if you don't have 10 on wood as you're going up with scouts, you're going to find that, or at least I find anyway, that I have trouble getting all the farms and everything out. So I'm scouting my opponent here. Didn't even see his walls here or anything. Did find his town center. I can't remember if he shot at me or not. Apparently not. It's just in and out. But I didn't really see anything that would be super useful. I wish I'd scouted this stable, and then I would know what he's doing. Yeah, because I wasn't sure if he would be going for scouts as well, or not. And I'm getting a stable out here, gonna be queuing up. I don't really know how many scouts I'm gonna make yet. I'm probably gonna aim for like 5, which is enough. You can start picking off spears if you do run into them. But I don't want to get stuck making scouts forever, because as far as I know, they might be fast castling. Although I guess their advance times are all pretty similar. So that probably should have told me that they're also going to be going for some aggression. So I'm sending the scouts out across the map. And you can see I did see one of his. I don't know how long it takes me to respond to that, but I did end up seeing that. And of course Frank's, I'll slow it down for a sec here. You can see Frank's have 54 HP, whereas his scouts have 45. Although he's got me way outnumbered here. And one of those advantages of just being closer to your base is he's going to have all his together. And so I've got 5 now. Here's my 6th one. I'm going to make a couple more apparently. And with the villagers, not necessarily fully wall them in, but at least begin those walls so that if I do see them, I can just put down 2 more. 2 more little palisade walls. And going for the farms here, you might wonder why not surround this. I just realized I left my villagers to take his berries. Whoops. Worst ally ever, man. Yeah, so the reason I'm putting all the farms out here instead of around this first is this is going to be a little bit safer. I just put them in my town center. So not as efficient as around here, but I am going to prioritize putting them around there. And I fully wall up. I know he's got his scouts coming in now. I was already a villager down because of the boar that I lost. Or the one that I lost to the boar earlier. And a little bit of idleness happening. So meanwhile, my ally, yeah, he's archer rushing, but so is red, and they definitely have the initiative already. You can see they're coming out. And skirmishers, great choice. Britons, you kind of know they're going to go archers. It'd kind of be weird not to go for archers, I think, in this case. But gotta be a little careful. He does go castle age. I think that's the right call. I really like that, actually, because that's quite a good castle time. And he did even make some military. So he definitely knows what's up. So he hits castle before 16 minutes and has already 6 archers that are immediately going to crossbows. So I'm a little less sorted out here. I send my scouts out. I feel like he's being a little passive. He hasn't raided me, so I'm going to go out. But of course, he's fully walled. I have not fully walled. Just kind of YOLOing here. I mean, I guess I walled in my lumberjacks, but otherwise, I'm pretty open. And my base is actually not that bad to wall, I guess. So I think he stopped just with those 5 scouts. And I see a couple spears, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm out of here. And he's going up with the 2nd town center. I still haven't clicked up. I'm going to be a little bit delayed because, you know, scouts, a lot of food. And I had quite a few of them there. So I think I'm kind of probing around. I try to click inside the base, and they start pathing around. So I'm just like, nah, let's just take them out. And then I see he's got these skirmishers and archers coming in trying to pick some stuff off. My spearman's not going to be too great against this. So of course garrisoning, and then I'm being hit by both at the same time, so now I'm kind of hoping these guys get back here quick. And the spear was probably in the wrong spot. He gets at least 1. There's 2 villagers down. Yeah, so nice raid for him. Definitely getting a lot more value out of his scouts than I got out of mine. And my ally's also being raided here. And I'm a little surprised by how much field aggression there is. And I half expected both of them to just fast castle. And he's setting out his crossbows there while losing stuff at home. Yeah, I feel like both of us should have stuck more defensively and getting punished a little bit for it here. So I don't know where my scouts are. They're just hanging out here. I've now got a couple spears to defend my gold, but that does put me back quite a bit. So that was nice taking out those 2 villagers of mine. And I didn't know where these scouts were, and suddenly I see them. And I don't know if I can really take that fight. Probably not if they're coordinating, and they do seem to be coordinating a little bit and staying in the same area. Whereas you've got my ally who's actually doing some nice raiding here. Not going to do very well against those, but... And then they have a little bit of miscommunication. So yellow gets scared off by the spear, and that gives me a chance to sneak in here. Now normally if these were all archers, I wouldn't be taking this fight, because he could just pick these off with micro, but skirmishers are so bad against scouts because of that minimum range. So he's going to try to hide in the corner here. I think that makes sense with archers, but again with the skirmishers, you can't really use them when they're in a corner like that. So it's not a bad idea in principle, but he's not going to get a ton of value out of this, because he's only got maybe 2 units here that are actually firing. Yeah, so I'm going to clean that up, and his ally, again, maybe not the best communication there. I mean, I'm not really one to talk. Me and my ally are not coordinating here very well. But I did manage to clean those up, which was nice. Just one less thing you have to worry about, right? In your base, and just leave all these guys going. So hit castle just after 21 minutes. Not terrible. I'm alive, but have lost a few villagers. I can't believe his scouts didn't see my villagers going for that town center. Because, yeah, I had no idea where he was. That's funny. I don't know if I'm setting these forward. I actually can't remember. But yeah, I gotta get a 2nd town center. Might seem like a weird spot because I can't put farms around it. But my thought was, I've got 3 nice wood lines right there. And I did leave this open. That wasn't very smart. So obviously I'm making knights at this point, and he's going to sneak in. I'm going to see that and try to quick wall a little bit. I hate quick walling on hills like this, so didn't quite do it. So his scouts are in, tried to block it. But again, on hills, it's very difficult to see exactly what tiles you need to place it on. And if I was really thinking, I would have deleted this and sent my knights in. But that's another, what, 1, 2, probably 3 villagers going down. So he's taken out 5 of my villagers with his starting scouts, and I've taken out none. Though I'm very happy to trap them in here, because the same thing with cleaning up Red's army. It's sometimes just nice just to get rid of their army, even if it costs you a few villagers. Just one less thing you have to worry about. So now I can start thinking about, I guess, walling up at some point. But they've got me in a very defensive position at the moment, I have to say. Being down a few villagers, though the scores are still pretty close. But you can see, wow, I'm way behind in villagers. So I've got 31, and they both got 37 and 41. And of course my ally with his basically direct to castle age with just a few archers, he's going to be on 3 town centers. And hopefully continually making from those. Kind of idle at the moment. But yeah, so far I feel like I've come out of it. I've taken some damage, but I'm still feeling alive at this point, which is good. So I can start play a little bit more defensively. Now let's speed up here, because from their perspective, they're just going to start booming a little bit, because they know they've done some damage. They survived our raids, I think, a lot better. I mean, the crossbows in here did actually do some work, but even still, I think they're in a better position overall. Less damaged for sure. And so I'm going to start looking toward, notice my ally doing stone walls. I don't normally stone wall, but in this case, yeah, again, this is the most competitive game I had played online up to this point. And so I was kind of used to my rushes just basically coming in and, you know, taking out 4 or 5 villagers right away. So this was the first time I really had to play defensively for the long game, outside of just arena matches. And this is a lot on wood. I should probably take some of these off wood and start making more farms. But yeah, I've got my 3 town centers up now. I love this town center on top of 2 different resources like that, and I can surround it with farms. It's pretty excited about that. And I'm gonna go for a 4 town center. I kind of over boom, and I know that about myself. I make too many town centers. But I also kind of felt like I had to at this point, because I got the sense I was behind. Yeah, so he's going to come out. He does come forward, you know, Magyars with the cavalry archers. So it can be a good choice in the late game. I'm really happy about this. I hope he breaks in and runs in under town center fire, and then I can sneak in behind him with the knights. So I was really hoping he would go in there, but he thought about it. I think he even clicked in and then said, no, that's a bad idea. I'm going to get trapped. And that is exactly what would have happened had he done that. I can see how that'd be really tempting to throw them in there, especially if you saw the town center, but with cavalry archers, you really need to keep your numbers up and keep them alive. Interesting composition though. I don't love cavalry archers at this level. I have noticed a few times people playing with cavalry archers. I never feel like it goes that well. I just feel like they're too easy to counter at this level, and people's micro and you kind of forget about them for a second. And trash units counter them really hard. Heavy cavalry counters them really hard. And I don't think you need this many in order to have a successful raid. I think if you're going to make a small amount and go around and pick off villagers, I think that can be fun. But I'm usually not actually all that worried when I see mass cavalry archer like this. There's just too many ways to deal with it. But I've come up with my stone walls. This is just palisade. I'm actually kind of happy with that. I did plug that gap, but I kind of like leaving a little bit of an obvious place for them to break in. And especially if I've got a town center right there with a lot of villagers. I know they're not going to get too far. And this is also boxed in as well, so he won't just like sneak right by and get through to the other side. And so now I'm starting to think a little bit more long term, grabbing relics, making farms, all that stuff. And my population is still way behind. My ally is doing a great job booming. That fast castle 3 town center thing, it just really spirals once you can have a good start like that, whereas I was back at least 5 villagers from what I can remember. So yeah, you feel that ripple effect even, 30 something minutes into the game. So this seems very passive, I know. I just kind of want to get my knight numbers up, and I've got, I think, 5 town centers now. How many do I have? 4 town centers. Okay. I'm going to add another one up here to grab this stone. But yeah, also with the scouts I had, never really found a great way to rush in, so I just sent them around. I think I forgot about this guy. But I just tried to do a little bit more scouting. to help us out. And I think that can be a really important thing. It's really easy to overlook that and to just focus solely. I'm kind of curious about their scouting. It wasn't bad, yeah, okay. I just like the idea of scouting around the outside of the base with some of those extra scouts, because a couple of extra scouts aren't going to really help that much right now. Okay, so everybody's just booming for a sec. They're doing a castle in this, so I'm just going to speed up a little bit while they place these down, snagging a really good hill there. And those are a great couple of forward buildings, both of them with siege workshops, and another forward castle. And I think we're being a little bit too passive here, maybe. But yeah, my ally's about to hit Imperial Age. I haven't even really thought about that. I think it crossed my mind, and then I said, you know what, I'm just going to keep booming. Because it was only 32 minutes, but you got to remember when you click up, it's still like almost 3 minutes later that you hit Imperial. So I think that was a little late. Everybody's hit Imperial, I think, or is researching it, except for me. And I'm not even ahead in villagers, I'm just keeping up. So it took a little bit too long there. But I mean, when you got 21 knights and you got 5 town centers, it happens, right? So I actually stopped making villagers right now, just to try to go up quickly. And I do click up here very soon, I hope. Come on. Any second now. Oh, I think I forgot a building. Right, I need to wait for my castle to come in. Whoops. And so I am advancing up to the Imperial Age now. Because I gotta be careful, like these knights, Frank Paladins are great, but unfortunately we're getting a lot of pressure here. And my ally's now under attack from trebuchets, and they're really focusing him down. I'm not sure why focusing here and not here, but I guess this is a pretty good launching pad. And I think they're seeing his score and seeing that he's doing a bit better. So you want to focus down that player, I think. So they're just going to shoot this for a while. He's making some longbows, and I really like the halberdiers because you prevent them from running straight in. And of course we see their elephants. And yeah, the skirmishers, I feel like are pretty well countered by my knights, so the only thing we really need to worry about are these elephants and the cavalry archers. So I like this sort of trash defense here. So I let him know I'm not abandoning him. I'm just going to go, I'm going Imperial, and I just want to get some upgrades before I fight. And I do offer to send him some stone, because I just kind of let his castle go down, because I don't want to throw these units away. And I think I got at least the armor upgrades coming in with the attack upgrades here. This monk is really good. I find a lot of people just stress out as soon as they're getting converted. And I do decide to send them in. I have the armor upgrades, and I actually noticed that he's not heavy cavalry archer. And so even though, yeah, I don't have all my upgrades, I realize he doesn't either, and he's probably in the middle of getting them right now, so if I can just take his numbers out before that, I figure to be smart. Pretty quickly I realized that it's just not a fight I want to be taking. I'll just wait for a few more upgrades. Yeah, you gotta be really careful when you have numbers like this, and you have all these techs coming in, so I have Cavalier coming in right now. And this is a mistake. I just was looking away, and my units started rushing forward, because every one I lose means I'm losing a Cavalier or a Paladin a couple minutes down the road. And so I have a couple ranges to make some skirmishers here. And Magyar Hussars, man, they're pretty strong. So meanwhile, just trying to expand everywhere I can. And again, this is still looking pretty exposed. Yeah, floating a lot of stone. The rest I actually don't mind floating. A little bit of food and wood. And a little bit of gold. Because I'm hopefully going to be going into straight Cavalier or straight Paladin in a few minutes. And goes in with those trebuchets. I was really tempted to sneak in there and try to grab them, but I do know he's got a lot of these cavalry archers. In my mind, I was wrestling between trying to be disciplined with my units and not throw them away, but at the same time, show my ally that I'm still involved here, and I did want to start contributing. I'm going to send it forward, and apparently I punk out. Nope. Decided, you know, at this point, I might as well just wait for Paladin, maybe. I don't know, I was a little bit indecisive there. And meanwhile, yellow is coming forward to pressure me now and put a castle in my face. I didn't notice it right away, but I did notice it. And he's got a couple of these trebuchets as well. They're 90 kilogram projectiles over 300 meters. Unfortunately, I can't tell during this event, and you have this, I can't actually see if he has the +1 range or not. But it's alright. So I got Paladin coming in, finally. And again, I still don't want to fight, just I don't have all the upgrades. So now finally I have the, at least the Pierce Armor upgrades. And my ally seems to be doing fine. He's making trash units. Getting actually pretty good value here. I haven't really upgraded these because I'm busy upgrading all my heavy cavalry. On the one hand, I've been pretty disciplined with my units up till now, but at the same time, I kind of felt the need to just be involved and to do something, and I think that was a bit of a mistake. I guess the goal was to take out the trebuchets, and I figured, you know, they're just cavalry archers. How bad can this be? And under castle fire with arrows, and you have a lot of these Magyar Hussars, is kind of a disaster. I really should not be taking this fight, and I know that. I'm still waiting for Paladin to come in. I probably lose 15, close to 20 Cavaliers here. This is a terrible decision. I definitely regret doing that. So at a certain point, I did get the trebuchets, but again, there goes my whole army. So I pull it back with like 5 left. Yeah, that wasn't great, and especially when I'm almost out of gold. I think I sell a few things just to queue up. I can't remember how many stables I have, so I've got 4 stables. And the goal is to start making those. I have a couple of markets. I've just kind of forgotten about that. My ally was really good to get a market down here, so pretty close to maximum distance we can get in our bases. And he's doing a great job holding. You can see by score, I'm kind of falling apart here. Losing that army was not good. That was a little bit of a throw, to be totally honest. And he's also now attacking this thing. So I delete that town center. I don't care about that. I'm just going to start walling up with the stone wall, because now I've had him commit to this, and I'm hoping if I can just stone wall it, it's going to end up being a place that he has committed to it, and then I've pretty cheaply made it impassable. So I'm missing, now I finally have paladins, finally fully upgraded. I can stop worrying about all of these upgrades and everything. Really wish I grabbed that gold earlier, in retrospect. And so I'm going to be building a castle on this hill. I think that's a great spot for a castle. And managed to delete my walls. I didn't actually see if he had murder holes or not, so I figured I'd go in, kill his villagers, and maybe try to take out the castle. But I did notice at a certain point he does have murder holes. And of course fortified wall there, since I'm really depending on these walls. And yeah, I see that. I think he's shooting at me with murder holes, and I don't... There's better ways to take down this castle. So I'm going to start making some trebuchets and fight them. Meanwhile, of course, he's running in with these heavy cavalry archers, but against paladins, I don't know, maybe you could take that fight, but it's definitely safer over here. So I'm going to try to focus on the trebuchets, of course. But my ally's getting a little bit crunched here for space. He's having to move backwards quite a bit and expand into my base, which I'm perfectly happy to let him do. And yeah, this is so unfortunate. There was one spot I just couldn't build that wall, and he's just streaming in units from there. And I was, you know, 1 square away from getting that. And so I'm going to manage to take this out with this trebuchet, I think. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, Magyar Hussars are so annoying because they can take out siege so easily. So I have to pull back and fight this off, and I can't have this gap in here. So I'm going to have to focus on that. And meanwhile, my ally's just, yeah, kind of dying to a lot of this stuff. Wasn't being a great ally in this moment. So, but at the end of the day, I just need this 1 block up, and then I can keep sending all my paladins to him. Although again, the biggest problem here is I've only got 9 on gold. So I need to start getting trade carts. I am going to start doing that here. A little bit late, but I had quite a bit going on. And I'm still making some elite skirmishers. But you can see they've pushed and they've taken out the castle. They've taken out this town center here. There's still lots of trebuchets. Now even got ballista elephants in there. Yeah. So I'm still trying to do my paladin thing. We're going to send them in. And I did notice, like, a lot of these aren't going to do very well to paladin. Like, I haven't been around here, but once I get my numbers up, I think I can clean up that whole army. And now this is finally walled up. At some point here, I'm going to remember to make a trebuchet and focus down that castle. It's a lot of monks. Yeah, that's smart. So he's trying to convert all my paladins. I mean, they're good. Fully upgraded Frank paladins. Why wouldn't you want those? And so, yeah, I gotta pull it back. Just not quite. Yeah, it would be nice to take out these cavalry archers. Can't remember totally. I feel like I was really indecisive at some of these points. I can't remember at what point my units just ran forward because I wasn't paying attention, and at what point it was intentionally taking a fight. But I noticed I don't really want to sit there and fight ballista elephants with these up close, simply because they're going to tank all the damage, and meanwhile I'm getting shot. So I decided to focus on these monks. And of course, still trying to do trade and trying to get that up, because if I can get trade up, we're actually not in a terrible position. I still have a couple of pieces of gold that I can take from, and at some point here, Still don't know where that trebuchet is. I guess that took me longer than I thought. I also decided we need to break in and do something sneaky. So I put a castle up here. And I figured that I would make something here a little bit later. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with that yet. We were still in quite a bit of trouble here. But if we could stabilize here, I wouldn't mind actually making some units, some trebuchets, maybe put down some stables here pretty soon. And you can see this guy coming back. I think I just mashed my idle military button and just sent everything over here. Try to get this under control. And actually we stabilized not too bad on this side. And, you know, he had a couple of big pushes here. But now finally I'm making the trebuchet. Finally. And on this castle I've set the flag on there. And so as it makes that unit, it's just going to come out and attack it. And I get the sense they can't keep track of everything. Like, everybody's getting very, very tunnel vision in this one spot where they've broken through. And they felt like they've had some success, so they're just going to try to keep going there. And meanwhile, I'm trying to think about other places on the map that we can get some attacks. So I start trying to make some stables up here to just give them a new, just something new to think about. Because of course they have map control, but it just feels like everybody's eyes are glued to this one spot. And they're just trying to basically outproduce us here. Yeah, so I'm making some paladins up there. Keep an eye on that. And again, my ally's done a great job. He was 2v1 there for longer than I should have left him doing that. And all I was making was some skirmishers and occasionally sending in my knights. Definitely the biggest mistake up to this point was charging all my cavaliers. It was over here. Yeah, but you know what? You make some mistakes. You're allowed to get away with it at this level. I'm sure that's not even the biggest mistake I made this game. Meanwhile though, yeah, I kind of wish that didn't happen. I remember seeing this, I was like, oh, now he's gonna actually know that I'm here. So, whoops. But I've actually got the trade going now. You can see I've got 35 units on gold. So not only am I grabbing gold from here, I think I started taking gold from here. We've got the trade units. So I can actually spam paladins. And I decide, you know what? Blue's a tough guy. He knows what's going on. So I'm just going to send my paladins in and we're just going to start raiding. And meanwhile, of course, I've got these paladins that I'm saving up. I don't think I knew about this trade. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So I should have known about that trade right there. I suspected there would be trade. I didn't know if it was right there. And this is so demoralizing when the other guys feel like they've been winning the whole time and then suddenly there's paladins in your base. And you feel like you've been pushed back from the one spot that you had such an advantage in. That's tough. It's tough to just, your first instinct is to be like, well, I guess we lost. How do we throw that one away, right? And I remembered why paladins are not good in trade lines. Is they aren't faster than trade cards, or are barely faster than trade cards. And so they just end up joining the trade line, basically. And they get the odd attack in. But yeah, so I'm just going to be streaming paladins into there. And again, I feel like he's got it under control here. He doesn't really need to push this. I didn't really feel like grinding on this over here. This is perfect. Just make halberdiers. That's great. And meanwhile, I'm raiding the trade line. I'm raiding the farms. And everybody's got so many alarms at this point. You kind of stop looking at your economy that you can go in and do a ton of damage when people aren't paying attention. And decide I got to make use of this castle. So I make a trebuchet here. And we start fighting. And just like that, what was looking pretty bad, we're suddenly in control of this game. I think we're the ones doing the raiding. I never really got raided after the feudal age. Never really broke through and did a lot of damage. And even my ally, the parts of his base that were destroyed, he just rebuilt them elsewhere. So our economies are feeling pretty good, and they're starting to feel some pressure. Although these paladins, man, so slow at taking out these trade carts. And of course, people make trade carts because they have no gold. Trade carts cost gold, so the last thing you want is to be losing those trade carts right in a situation where you need them. Don't mind the idea of a few elephants at the end here, just to distract my units. He's making a few pikes, but I decide I'm going to go for the killing blow, and we're going to throw a castle right in his base, and just start chaining castles through here or something. Maybe make some more stables. And this is a little bit risky, for sure, so he's trying to tread this down. I don't really have enough paladins to protect this. He can come in and pick these off pretty easily, so I have to be really cautious about that. But he just doesn't quite have the numbers here, and of course we're pushing here, and still able to send a few paladins over here now. So feeling like that's quite under control, and managed to get those cleaned up. So this castle's going up, and then of course with all the raiding that was going on. I mean, their villagers, well, the population is 70 and 77, and we're both at 200. So at this point, we've basically won. This is a pretty difficult situation to come back from, because you can't really reboom, because how do you deal with these paladins, right? And so they're gonna call the GG here in just a sec before that castle goes up. And look at that, score lead, yes. I mean, I feel like at one point there, Knifer was probably like, oh, just my luck to get stuck with a Spear of the Law guy. He's 2,000 score behind everybody else, and has completely abandoned me 2 versus 1. Yeah, I think besides throwing away those Cavaliers, I just threw away my units a couple of times when I really didn't have to. But I think I kind of made up for it with booming and a little bit of sneaky strategy. I think that game definitely would have gone on longer and been more of a grind over here. But just thought of doing this and getting in their trade, and just, it's more demoralizing than anything. You kind of give up and you slow down, you start to feel like the game's over, and just giving them a new front to attack on. Especially when I felt like they weren't really able to focus on multiple fronts at the same time. So I was able to fight both of those off. I got the sense everybody was so tunnel vision on this one spot, and in those situations, the first person to start not having that tunnel vision is usually the one I think that can, end up changing the game and breaking it open. And so we'll take a look at all of these stats here. And Frank Paladins, I would attribute to the units killed and least units lost. And my ally again did a great job coming up with just a lot of trash units, which, yeah, it's not probably the strategy you wanted going into that, is going Briton trash units, but it worked out all right. And that trade profit is only a couple thousand, but that started to feel really good. It felt like I could keep Paladins coming out consistently. And really slow Imperial Age time there. But the other two weren't bad, I think. Especially for losing a villager to the first boar. I think I lost 4 more by the time I hit Castle Age, didn't I? Yeah, or just after Castle Age. Not ideal. And I like his fast castle that ended up being pretty good. Giving him a boom that, yeah, 153 villagers, wow. Yeah, I feel like right around there, you can see their military numbers start going down. I get the sense they kind of gave up a little bit, or at least they couldn't keep their numbers up, and blue just exploded, and then obviously I was spamming paladins into their eco. So at the end, I went from 1700 to 1750 elo on that one, and at this point, I'm now 1792, which puts me at about 6,000 something out of about 55,000 active team games, or active team players, which isn't quite top 10%, but it's right on the edge of that. So I might play a few more and just see if I can get the points that I need for that. And also, I don't want to overpromise again, but I am thinking about starting another Road to 1800 type series of ranked 1 vs 1 games. So on Definitive Edition, you start at 1000 elo, and the equivalent rating to the old 1800 rating would be about 1200 now. And I'm not sure past a certain point if I'm going to start losing motivation to collect those internet points. And obviously views start to drop off as well after the first couple of episodes. But at the same time, I think climbing the ladder for a bit could be a nice goal to work toward and make some hopefully helpful videos or entertaining videos for people just starting out online. Again, no promises, just something I'm thinking about. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. It was definitely the most competitive game and felt like a little bit of a comeback there, at least from my perspective. But that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.